What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. Let's do this. Let's kick this off. Sunday Stock Talk. So futures did open red. Hopefully we sell off this week. We're going to talk about that. We're going to break down the dollar, the Russell, the NASDAQ, the S&P. Let's just jump right into it. So I can keep you guys with a little short attention spans attached. So the dollar did pop up. Dollar is in this zone, so I am watching that right now to see if right now would be a good time to short the dollar. I actually think we pop up a little bit further. I thought about going along the dollar. I'm not in a play right now, but that is the reason I'm not, just because we are hitting this right now. We got this little fake out, so we sold off last week, gap down, and then just, again, fake out. That's why they're called that. Ran right up and then just sent it Friday. So today we got futures opening red, dollar opening green, and that's a lot of times how that will pan out. It'll be pretty hard for things to push up while the dollar is pushing up. So not too much to break down on the dollar standpoint. Just want to see if we can actually get above that for now. Remember, I talked about breaking down the reason why I tried going along the dollar here. That fake out did get me out, by the way. I wanted to see if the dollar would do something like this first. I am going to short the dollar a lot, but I think we pull off something like this before we ultimately do head down. Dollar being at levels it's at now is pretty decent. Problemsome. Anyway, you've seen other countries try to decouple from the dollar. Saudi's now accepting not just the dollar for oil. We've seen China trying to sell the dollar and buy back their currency. We've seen a lot of countries do that. So I didn't think we would just turn on a dime, but I do want to see if we do, we kind of head back down to where we were, or if we play the back and forth game before we do send it. If we do play the back and forth game, I love that because it tells us where the highs and the lows are and where the breakouts are. Are we capitulating yet? No. Bitcoin? No, ultimately just kind of holding this zone right here. So watching Bitcoin right there, technically right now, still lower high, still trapped in a zone. We're on the weekly chart, so we spent a couple weeks inside here. So we'll see if that turns back around, and it likely will if the dollar does continue to push. Buy cryptos. We'll see. I like to buy them cheaper. All right, as far as the Russell goes, why did we call this out? Was that a 4-hour candle? Okay, so as far as the Russell goes, this is something I drew with my mentorship group, which if you are curious about, that's the Patreon link down below. Tier 1 weekly growth account, so I deposit $150 a week. I post everything I'm buying. If you did that for January, well, the $5 you spent on Patreon would have made you $150. So it's like $167, something like that. Anyway, Russell pushed up, and all we're doing, it's just going sideways. We spent quite some time, actually, just going sideways. We have this move up. All these candles are inside, so kind of waiting to see if we break out. If this does break and close, we'll likely head right. I know it sounds obvious. Breaking and closing above this, we're headed to that zone. Breaking and closing below this, we're headed to that zone. Right now, this bright yellow zone would be a dip buy for me. And while I know I said the futures open red, like stock market sell-offs in the title, I kind of do think we're red this week. But honestly, red, we could just lollygag our way around, get to this zone. It's going to look like this on all of them, even tech and the S&P. That trend up still very much intact. So I'm hoping it does sell off because I do want to start buying things. I just don't like chasing things. And you guys know last week it just kind of felt a lot like chasing. What's up? There's Brad from On the Chaos. We are going to break down 5. So he does. We're merging as far as Patreons go. And he gives out a Sunday watch list. So we are going to break that down. There's a couple interesting ones that I do want to look at that I am intrigued by. So after I break those down, we are going to go over them. Just spoiler alert. It's Pioneer Energy. We know it's Pioneer. I just call it Pioneer. InPhase, Disney, PayPal, and Chipotle. So we're going to break those down. Anyway, that's typically if you already are signed up for Patreon that you get that watch list. You guys got it for free. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. As far as the Russell goes, I do think we pull back. Out of all of them, the Russell does look the highest. Natural resources, but who cares? All right, that's what he called it. InPhase and Chipotle earnings are Tuesday. So we got some spicy plays this week. I have the tickers, yeah. I do think Russell, out of all of them, does look the strongest. I don't have a play in this one yet, a direct play in IWM. As far as the weekly growth account goes, I do want to buy it. So if it could just pull back, we did the expected moves on Don Fron Trading. That's my other YouTube channel where I don't go live. It's all pre-recorded. But we draw these magic blue lines. And anyway, go check it out. So even a 1 standard deviation down, we sell off, make it all the way down here to this 192, still keeps that move up. We're still pricing in a higher low. So things still, nothing on this front looks bad. We didn't buy anything last week, so we still have the 150. So next week we'll have 300. And I'm thinking about buying Microsoft, maybe IWM with that, or do we just chunk it into Ford? I want to see if Ford gives us a better deal. The quicker we can get to Ford in that account, the quicker we can start selling options. The faster we can get to 100 shares on things is when we'll grow exponentially in that account. Like, it's cool to just buy stuff and watch it go up. But when you can create your own dividend, it's only a couple bucks. It's only literally a few dollars. It adds up way more than you think. If we're in a bullish market, we're not selling at the money. So in a bullish market, we do got to sell outside standard deviations. We got to collect the couple dollars, but it is still rent for a unit. It's still free money. As much as I hate to call it that, I don't like giving off the impression hey, anybody can do it. I think anybody can, but why am I getting the loading sign? Hopefully, it says I got an excellent connection, but I just got the YouTube loading sign. Oh no. Anyway, so same story for tech, right? Tech could pull back into this, hopefully into a nice dip buy would be this bottom yellow zone. This whole purple zone, so from yellow to yellow, is actually one giant weekly zone. There happens to be a couple of 4-hour zones just inside of that. I don't really care much for this zone right here. If we pulled back to this and just stayed flat, I'd say it's a dip buy, but I'm not jumping on any train tracks just to catch that right there. I would, however, buy at this bottom zone right here. I think that'd be a great pullback. And everything's still bullish. Here's our long-term trend line that we did break. As far as any bigger trends, I think we're officially changing. Yeah, I would have called this our last lower high. If you're considering this your last lower high, and then we got to get above that to break the downtrend, that's a lot of money left on the table. So yeah, I would just consider this last one a little bit there. So we can finally delete that. We'll worry about this trend for now. Very interesting that just never broke. What do you guys think? Is the bottom in? Officially, we're never going to break it again? Or are we going to test it? I want to say outside of any black swan events that we can't really plan or call for, I think it is. Our bear case is we get close to it, and that's it. Loading on puts in March if we are high. Man, I don't know. I guess I don't know if I. Who knows? Not below October. Was this October right here? Oh, October. Your little wick right there. I don't know. Getting above this, as far as the S&P goes, this is why I'm conflicted, because we'll hop on over here to the S&P. We never got above that zone. If you notice, I had zones on the Russell and the NASDAQ. Get above that. I think we're good. We did. The S&P did not. And that's what has me just so hesitant still to say, hey, the bottom is in. I think it is in, but I'm always wrong. Oh, no. Keep stacking puts on March. That's some pretty bearish talk right there. What's up, Lori? It says, good week ahead. I think if you're short the market, it could be a good week. I think with employment numbers still looking good, Fed will have to step up on raising rates. I don't know. I'm not an economist, and the only reason we even talked about Powell and all that is because that was like the market theme for last year. I don't know what news came out on Friday, but we were still watching that zone, and it still just sold off. We talked about going short this zone. If you've been a subscriber to this channel for a while, then there's a reason it's bright yellow. We talked about going short here. I am short right now, but P-Dog, you're an SQQQ calls? Leverage on leverage. You got theta decay and just the regular ETF decay on that one. That is, I probably can pan out. That is something I really do caution against, though. Either, like, what I typically go for is either QQQ puts or SQQQ, because when you mix the two, it tends to dwindle, unless you happen to catch it, like, right on that move. Like, if this was tech and you grabbed SQQQ calls here, yeah, usually liquidity-wise, it's pretty low. Man is addicted to leverage. Give me all of it. YOLO. SPY futures gap down made me feel my puts a little more secure. We'll see. Right now, there's a lot of time until market open. So even though I'm in a short position, there's no need to be popping bottles right now. This open is still pretty negligible. It's just technically the color red because we just opened down a little bit. So not too much. We're literally just now breaking Thursdays, just open. So until we get around that, we're still here. How much leverage do you want? Yes. What do you got for me? All right. Market reaction to Apple and Amazon earnings confused me. Not sure the bottom is in. See, people call reading charts reading the tea leaves, but I would call reading into those earnings a little bit more. And if you're brand new here, like fundamental analysis, I've gone over this before, so hang on, we got to just give us more space. So like let's imagine that's your fundamental analysis. Keep on track. There's good earnings, there's bad earnings in there. But lots of wiggle room. And then there's technicals, and there's the intraday just sentiment, and delta hedging, all the pieces to the board going in there, and basing anything off of an earnings announcement outside of the next day just for that initial reaction, I think is just putting in a bunch of noise. Apple went up 3% on bad earnings. The bottom is in. Apple went up. The whole market went up, though. I think Apple just went up because of that. War. I don't really like to worry about war. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But Michael Burry's called out World War III. There's 52 weeks in a year. I think just last year he called it out probably 47, 48 times. Hasn't panned out once for him yet. So, I like to... That's like the one excuse I don't care for. I don't care about the China spy balloon, because it's a balloon. And the spies are typically a little bit more spyish than that. They're typically not so upfront in your face. They use satellites, they use your phones, they use everything else but a balloon just floating out in the middle of the atmosphere. War would be a buying opportunity, maybe for some defensive, but those have already got pumped way too much. My first experience with this was Cisco in '99. Wiped me out and has never retraced to its 99 highs. Cisco is, I think, one of the only ones. Everyone else just didn't come back ever. They either, like in '99, you just got delisted, or it did eventually make it up. Cisco is like the one example I use to show off to everybody how things don't come back. Because I hate when other YouTubers or when people say, look at the margin it created. Because we'll just pull up Peloton for that one, actually. People, so Peloton's just banging it out, right? It just green candle after green candle. It had a pretty decent run. But people will say, like, look at this. If it makes it back to that high, look at the margin it created. I could buy it now at $16. That's still a steal. I love using Cisco for that example because it still never got there. Apple was the only green ticker? Am I crazy? I thought the whole market went that day. I guess I lost my mind. I thought that was the day the whole market was green. Peloton back to 200. Let's see. Cisco's a great company. Different concessions come into National Park. All the food comes from Cisco. You're talking about the grease. They popped my balloon. Yeah, some kid Some kid was probably about to get an A on his science class. Just got shot down by an F-22. Anyway. So yeah, back to what I was saying. I would just be careful with all that. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of excuses going on in the chat right now. And if you've been following me for a while, like, I don't mind talking about the news. It's a great conversation piece. But if you do just stick to the charts and just kind of silence all that out, you can probably just forget about a lot of it. News is happening all the time, all around you, everywhere. There's specific news that is packaged bright wrapping paper and a bow, brought right to your face just for you to read. And I think it's tinfoil hat a little bit, kind of to make you feel a certain way. And that's why I just find it a lot easier. It's why I do all my planning at night when nothing's moving. I'm clear, sound mind. So the next day when I find out there's an article that a Tesla with self-driving wrecked into a guardrail, you find out, you make some panic decisions. An hour later you find out it was an Audi, and they would just put Tesla in the headlines. So everybody look at the market. A way to look at markets versus gold. A wise man once told me it used to cost 2 ounces of gold for a fine man's suit. It still does. Oh, because gold just goes up with it. We would just hang on. Get to let's go with SPY. And gold. So during the Rona, gold even had a little bit of the Rona crash. Hang on, as we bounce it around. Yeah, I guess. If you hope to beat inflation, you just buy the shiny stuff. But Don, the balloons are watching me. I was actually surprised at how many people were worried about that balloon. I'm really not going to lie. I was like, oh, wow. So you guys just out here thinking weather balloons are watching you, huh? That's how they go. That's like the same people that thought the CIA was tracking their Pokemon Go app. Because they don't download Pokemon. It's how the CIA tracks your location. Like, what? Huh. Your world must be very peaceful. If you think like that's how they're getting you, huh? I'm not going to rain on your parade. Diamond Hands, Peloton. I don't care what you think, Don. AMC will make it to 100K. If World War III were to happen, and AMC is the only company left, period. That's where you go to get your food. The gas pumps outside. Well, I guess everything's electric, so you would just go plug your cars in while you watch a movie. Maybe. Could happen. I'm still waiting for AMC to hit 100. All right, let's talk about these tickers. So Brad thinks Enphase is looking all right. I could have sworn I had an alert on Enphase. Did I not? I missed January 31st, so it was last week. So I missed my alert. I actually do want to buy Enphase. We shorted here in the midship group last time. We just trailed that down. If you're new to how I do things, like when I buy things, it's green. I just move my stop loss in the green. So as long as we're on the gain train, so am I. But that was actually pretty horizontal. So I do kind of like this level for a buy. So I'm going to set my alert right there. And probably get some of that tomorrow. My Pokedex is being used to start World War III. How did they know where you were at? I was just trying to catch a Pikachu. Dang it. They got me. Alright, so Enphase still on a pretty decent downtrend. So you would be catching a knife right now. Personally, I'm gonna put my stop. Oh, I absolutely hate this stop. But $200.85. If that goes to the $200 mark and tag, I'm going to lose my mind. I don't like really stopping out at whole dollars like that. In fact, that's how I got to the 85-cent mark. That's a personal thing for me. I used to put my stop when I was brand new. Like, I'll put it at the dollar, then it would tag out. I'm like, all right, so let me go 5 cents below. 95 cents. Helped, but it would still tag out. Dropped it to 90 cents. And that was cool, but things would just go to that dollar mark. Wick would grab me and turn back around. It's like, man, All right, let's bump it 5 cents more. At that 85-cent mark to me is like magic. So like I go to the dollar. I put my stop below the wicks, like you saw me moving the mouse around. So here's the wick. All right, so we're at 201.67. Then we'll just go to the 85-cent mark, which puts it at $200.85. We're just right there at the $200 mark, where someone's going to say, "Oh, psychological level, it's going to bounce." While psychological levels are real, hopefully it would just bounce a little bit further, take out everyone's stop, bounce that blue zone, and then I would just get back in. But it's very annoying when I have stops that just tag right on the dot. But if you want to know how to do risk the correct way, I have a video, I have a playlist on here on YouTube. Inside that, I think it's called How to Trade. Anyway, inside that, there's perfect entry types and 1% stop loss the correct way, which, to just sum that up, entry would be, we'll call it right here, 225. Stop loss, we'll call it 200. So it's $25 per share. If I only want to risk $100, I'm only going to buy 4 shares. If I have $1 million account, but I'm only comfortable risking $100, I'm only buying 4 shares. I'm not stopping out because this moved 1%, the ticker. I'm not stopping out because it moved 1% of my account. I'm stopping out because everyone has an emotional, comfortable risk. If it's too little, they're just betting on everything. They don't care. You'll die death of 1,000 cuts. If your position size is too high, you're getting anxious. You're not thinking right. You will make emotional decisions. You have a comfortable level. If I told you to go bet $5 on that blackjack table right now, most of you have to say, sure, no problem. You wouldn't even think twice. If I said go bet 5,000, you'd be like, no, I don't even gamble. Why would I do that? We're way too high. Find that number in the middle, and that's going to be your number. Now, that will grow with your account over time, but more importantly, that controls your emotions. That's what keeps you in a level head to even stay in this game. So find that number, and then that's your emotional level of risk. And then entry, stop loss, how many per share can you fit in there while keeping that level of risk? We did go over the dollar. The dollar is the first one. There's a shadow man behind you. It's margin man. It's expensive fundamentally, but I think the growth warrants premium in phase. I actually like in phase because overall, just looking at the charts behind this, still looking good. We've seen this sell-off. The sell-off it's seen now, we've actually seen before. And the really stupid indicator, we're not quite there yet on the weekly, but daily's bouncing. I don't know. We'll see. That's why we don't use those. Selling short is the theme for the coming week. Like selling to open or what? Did you really think my chair was a shadow? All right, let's go to the next one. I actually do like in phase, but I do want to put my stop right below there. I'm a fan of this week pulling back. So for everyone that is just tuning in, I did go over the dollar, the Russell, the NASDAQ, the S&P. Right now, pulling back just even into this gray zone would still be a dip buy, keeping this alive. But I do think this week would be red, couple days red. We're still in a bull trend. Bulls are still in control, so we'll see if there's some kind of take profit. We'll see if shorts pile in. But this trend in general, more immediately, just that gray one. So I would have to question, is that a dip buy? And maybe I catch that knife intraday with futures. The best dip buy in the world would be this bright yellow one down here. That'd be a full leg down. I'm sure with all kinds of excuses. It was another spy balloon, and they got your picture this time, and you were looking up. It wasn't just the top of your hair. You looked up. They got you. But right there would be a full leg down, and it would just keep this leg alive. So again, Elliott wave people, the Fibonacci people, they're all excited, right? They're all getting anyway. They're all getting excited about this zone. I think we'll see some buyers in there. Below that is where I would question: was that just a very weird bear market rally? As far as the NASDAQ pulling down into that zone, this yellow zone right here would be the one for me. Intraday, I might buy right here. This is where I'm buying for sure. And as far as the Russell goes, it's nice to actually break away from this 4-hour trend. So we've been inside these 4-hour candles for a while. So breaking the close, again, bright yellow, I want to buy it. The top of my hair is ridiculous. Yeah, Xi Jinping, delete that right now. My hair wasn't combed that day. Let me line it up first before you send the next balloon. Does Don have a dividend portfolio? I do. I swear I'm going to put more into it. But right now, I don't. Didn't somebody ask me about Jeppy? Is that why you're asking? We're about to get on. I'm going to break down these other few tickers real quick. Could have sworn someone. I was going to read it. Okay. I also got a few lots of Jeppy. I'm looking to sell some calls against. What are your strikes and timeframes for Jeppy? I don't know if I would. I doubt it's that liquid. I wouldn't sell calls on this. There's not even weeklies. As far as open interest, yeah, nothing. It'd be you and the market maker, and they're not looking to give you a good deal. This is a covered call ETF. I doubt this ever gets too liquid as far as that goes. All right, so next one's Pioneer PXD. Natural resources. That did fall below the zone. Let's go to the daily on this. Interesting. So the cool thing about this is we are still making some higher lows. So we kind of have this pennant pattern playing out right here. So lower highs, higher lows. Eventually one of these will break. And how long will your account be if you don't have the proper risk management? So it is below this zone. Whether I have it filled in or not, guys, if you see two lines on here kind of close together, it's a zone. So hopefully that would end up just being a fake out if you're looking to go long this. When I see a pennant like this, coming all the way down to this low right here, that's horizontal. So nothing actually bearish has happened yet. We just quit making a higher low. It's maybe cause for concern. At that point, I would look to see if we even push up, make a lower high. But I would give it the wiggle room down to this one. When we see a bigger pennant like this, I'm usually probably somewhere in the middle. If it's like intraday or something like that, I go to the base. I just say, all right, I'm stopping out below here, or if I'm short, I'm stopping out above here, and we'll just call it a day. I think there's enough. I don't think we need to give it that much room. So my stop would be, it'd be 204.45. And that's where I would get out. But this does have earnings Tuesday. Is that right? February 22nd. No, so we got some time on that. Did you know Tesla was down to nearly $100 last month? Yeah. Pretty aware. Pretty aware of Tesla. Crypto seems to predict the market open. Gold more to dump. We'll check that out. Was this a dragon? We had this drawn out a long time. I think it was on Bitcoin. The dragon pattern or something like that. We made fun of it. Let's see. Was that a Tesla sucker punch? Oh, like talking crap? It's hard to say because maybe he's bearish, maybe he's bullish. Like, who knows? MMA picks and highlights. Affirm 24 calls through earnings. I messed up. Oh no. Let me break down these other tickers and we'll look at Affirm real quick. So now I'm curious what you messed up. What do you think of Meta short below 180? Daily shooting star. I love stock names like that. What is that? It's a spinning top. Oh yeah? Yeah, my toddler brought it home. I mean, it's a stock chart. I'm just kidding. We'll pull that up too. Kevin was pumping puts for now. Large insider sells. Kevin's not really a trader, though. I would really caution that. We can look at it. I always think of now that's what I call music. Disney. Disney does need to get above this. I would look to actually for a rejection here. A dip buy at 100 would be great for Disney. Right now, if you're bullish or bearish, this should be one of the easiest ones you could trade. Because if you're short, you're going to put your stop at 114.35. If you're long, you're going to put your stop at 106.45. And then that's that. right? So how can you really lose? So you would go long. If you want to do it my way, you would go long. You'd put your stop right there. Realistic take profit would be my next zone. Yeah, right there. Or you would just go short. You can't really argue this because it's a zone. If you made a habit of buying things as they come into the bottom of the zone like that, I can tell you you're probably not going to be here next year. I would say, yeah, right there. So that would be your two plays for Disney. Not one you can really argue. A loser, the true loser, does this, right? As long as you're not doing that or just bag holding stuff out of your mind, then do that. Or let's say you do go long because right now the Bulls are in control. Bulls are headed up. You think I'm crazy. We're not going to reject. Who cares about that weird yellow box? That's stupid anyway. The RSI said nothing about that. But, you know, if you're so confident, why would it matter that you put your stop right there? You afraid you're going to be just too right? You know, like it stops out, big deal. Then you get to buy it again down here. You get to buy a dip buy. I would have my alert right here to buy this again. So if I took this trade and it did tag out, I would have my alert at probably right around the 102 mark because I'd want to watch it come into that zone so I could catch the knife again. You tried to grow a Blade Runner beard. I said I'd shave at 20,000 subscribers. So if you guys could do me a solid and hit the subscribe button, or I'm going to be Gandalf of the stock market. Smack the like button, peoples, for sure. I support Tesla to the moon. Alright, PayPal. PayPal's in a weekly zone, so... I don't know how I feel about FinTech. I think PayPal... I liked this zone for PayPal for a while. God, remember when we bought it at 180 up here? Well, 180 is when I got out. We bought it like this zone right here. Can you imagine bag holding that? Holy cow. What's it like to just watch your money dwindle away? Alright, so we're only $100 cheaper. It's no big deal. PayPal's dead. I like that as far as if I'm going to start getting back into things. I like PayPal at this price right here better than I did at this same price back here. PayPal will be Peloton. See, I don't think so. I like PayPal over Square. I think this one just has... the test of time, you know, like I think more people know this one. It wasn't a fan of their "we're gonna charge you if you are saying weird stuff on the internet." Overall, I do like this level. I wouldn't want it breaking. So if I were to go long this right now, my stop would be 75.45. So I would give it $10 per share worth of risk. That's where I'd be at on that one. I don't think I'd want it. If it breaks that, I don't think I'd want. Like, if we're breaking that, I bet we're coming down here anyway, so I'd rather just stop out now than just take a smaller position and just wait forever to stop out later. PayPal went parabolic to the downside. RSI fanboys are probably loading up. Maybe, but this is, for everyone that is new to this, let me know right now. Are you brand new to this channel? Is this your first time watching? And did you start trading in 2021? Because you probably think the stock market works like this. This was hype coming in. Here's your Rona crash. Then the hype came in, and the hype left. PayPal is just now getting back to reality. Test of time like General Electric of Kmart. So yes and yes. Hit the subscribe button. I do have a different way of doing things, but this is what I do for a living. I don't live off of YouTube income. I make a living off of everything I'm telling you right now, which is something I would challenge all the other YouTubers you guys are watching. That's like Zoom or something. Yeah, there's a lot of stocks that were just worthless, had no business being up there. Plenty of YouTube videos of people pumping it. So like even if you go back to my channel, yeah, we were bull. If it's going up, I'm buying it. More green candles than red. Sounds like it's going up. What are you doing? You should be buying that. More red candles than green. You guessed it. It's going down. If it goes from the top left to the lower right, you should be shorting that thing. Like, what are you doing trying to catch that knife? So there's plenty of videos of mine where I'm talking about, yeah, I like it. Keep it going up. There are people that were breaking this thing down and trying to tell you guys fundamentally how much why it was worth that much, and all that. And those people just showed off how much they don't know about the stock market, because things were just rocking and rolling to the upside. Like, it was so easy. Are you rich? Well, I used to sleep in my car, and now my cars cost more than houses. Some would say that's rich. But I can't tell you after that whole journey, money, that's a completely different topic. Money will not solve all your problems. I drink coffee just to keep me going, like right now. If I traded for a living, I would need a shopping cart and a box to live in. I can get you one. I think PayPal's crossed some lines. Oh, as far as the charging. Didn't we just delete this? Wasn't there a trend down like that? So we are breaking that. So some positive signs, but that's no reason to just be whole accounting some stuff. All right, last but not least, Chipotle. And by last but not least, we're talking about on the Brad's watch list. Ethan, fun fact, there's a duplex that I used to live in. Right now it would fit, the whole duplex, like both sides, would fit in my garage. And I did pull into the driveway just to get out and take a picture. All in that one. I didn't post it. I thought about posting on like Facebook or something because I thought it was cool as a big thing for me. But yeah, 100% did that just because my car cost more than that whole duplex after the real estate run-up. So I was proud of that. But I have been doing this for this month, I have been doing this for 10 years. Chipotle is my life. I can show you guys when I started eating Chipotle. Yeah, it actually was right about here. So right around this time frame, I had a friend that was a manager at Chipotle, and she would always say, "Hey, you want me to bring something home?" I was like, "Nah." I never did. Once I started eating Chipotle, there's a direct reflection in their stock price. I do show up in their earnings. I haven't been on any of the earnings calls yet, but I can tell you a lot of my portion does go to Chipotle. I should join your mentorship. Ask anybody in the chat. Obviously, I'm biased. I would tell you to join my mentorship, but ask everyone in the chat because they are in your shoes or were in your shoes, so you get a much more honest answer from them. That's why I don't like to preach it a whole bunch. Chipotle getting above, so we played the back and forth game. Getting above that would be your bullish sign right there. Kind of missed the breakout. If I was buying this right now, though, I would have to give it all the way down here. Because I would take this as, so here's how I would buy this. If I'm buying this right now, we're buying it Monday pre-market, my stop would be down here. God dang, that's a lot of risk. You're probably not loading up on shares anyway. 1570. So really, okay, let's see. Where's our next zone at? That's right here. So we got to worry about sellers showing up at that level. You got to be realistic when you buy stocks. If it pulls back into this, that's still just a dip buy. So stopping out anywhere in between there. Let's go over a couple scenarios. If you're under PDT and you're not looking to just tag out right away, you want to take more of a swing trade approach, I would go that, and I would add on right here. So now when I add on to a position, all of that is priced in before I ever click the buy button in the first place. I think adding on to a position you're red in is just how to clown around in the stock market. You know, like, I guess I'll just buy more. Like, why? You just upset you're not down as much as you could be? Like, why don't you throw your whole account on that thing? So I would call this, you'll hear me say type 1. So Perfect Entry Types is a video where I explain type 1, type 2, type 3, how I enter the stock market. This would be a type 1 mindset. So I love taking type 1s, and I will add on at a type 2. So if I'm comfortable risking $2,000, my first trade is risking $1,000. My add-on, risking another $1,000. Still total risk in my regular means of trading. Now, I'll rock a small position up here. Or if it pulls back, I'll add on full stop right below. Everything was all in the plan before I ever took it. So I would do that. Maybe if you're under PDT, maybe you're not under PDT and you don't want to give it that much wiggle room, I would stop out. You know, as long as if this doesn't stop out, then your daily trend is still up. Bulls are still in control. You go along here, you'd stop out just below this wick. I don't even worry about this price over here until I go to buy shares. set up the trade like this. If you focus on the trade, money is just the byproduct of it. If you focus on your P&L, you're just going to watch some numbers go up and down, and you'll probably just lose. But focus on the actual setup, and things will be all right. And this probably looks a lot better than this. You're thinking, look how much I'm risking versus how much I'm risking right here. You go just jotting down some dumb crap like this, you're probably going to throw your account out as well. People love to say there's this magical rule of I only trade 15 to 1 setups. So they just do this. Like, they're not drawing the zones. They just draw way up here. They're just they're selling themselves a position. They're just being silly. But if you keep it tight, you're playing this bull trade right here. Then when that tags out, you have an alert that goes off and you buy inside that zone. So you're thinking, okay, I'll jump on the bull train, but if it turns around, I'm out. We'll skip the red candle and we'll get back in down here. That'd be personally how I would trade it. Man. I would probably I would stop out right here and then get back in. I'm not under PDT, so I don't have any rules I need to worry about with that. Also, I have no problem stopping out. When you take a position, two things are going to happen. You're right or wrong. Like, some of you guys probably just need to rewind and listen to that again. Part ways. There's no such thing as managing a red trade. You bought it, it went south, ta-da. Like, you're done, stop out. Worry about something else. You manage green trades because your take profit was right here, but now we're just barreling through it. We're hitting that. Like, I'm not selling something that's good. Leave that for the clowns. You know, I'll delete if I have a take profit in the first place. Sometimes I set up OCO brackets. A lot of times I just have my entry and my stop loss, but I'll just trail it. So if this is my stop loss right here, Chipotle gets up to here. Now, I'll put my stop loss right underneath that zone, and if it breaks out and goes up to this next one, then I just move it on up, and I just continue to move it on up. At every green candle that shows up, I'll just move the thing up. So if we pull a 2021 and we go parabolic and it just goes nuts, I didn't just arbitrarily just sell my position because it was moving too well. You know, I trailed it and eventually tagged out. When that train turns around, that's my stop. I'm off. Someone else can watch their money evaporate. But that's how you hold your winners. Your winners are much bigger than your losers, and it can really make up for some. You're gonna catch bad trades, bad weeks. There's just bad times where you do catch. It's gonna seem like death by 1,000 cuts because you just catch those streaks. You just catch one winner. It erases a lot of bad losers. But you go bag holding stupid stuff, that will erase a whole bunch of winners a whole lot faster. Thoughts on scalping? I used to joke a lot that I don't worry about pennies because I make dollars. I think that does make me sound cocky. It just seems like a lot of work. It really does. But more importantly, it would be who you are as a person. Some people can't stand the swing trading or holding on to it like that. They're just not there. Their mind is just built for smaller time frames. If you're in the smaller time frames, it's just a whole bunch of noise. You know, then at that point, jump in there and play that game. If you're built for scalping, you'd be better off doing that psychologically than trying to jump in and just doing like swing trading, like what I do, because then it wouldn't make sense, and then you would just beat yourself up because you knew you should have scalped, but you didn't. Vice versa, like you people say don't catch a falling knife. I catch them all the time, like a circus freak. I'm juggling knives. I have no problem jumping on the train tracks. But I jump on the train tracks. Not that I'm looking for this kind of move right here. Like, people would tell me don't buy Chipotle. I'd have bought it right there all day, every day, because it's coming to the top of the zone. Now sometimes it'll blast right on through there and tag me out. A lot of times it does bounce, puts like that. I put my stop in the green, and then we go for it. But if you're not a knife catcher, and I tell you to do it, or you try to do it, because I don't tell anybody to do anything, that's going to barrel right on through, tag out, and you're going to be like, I knew I should have done it. I knew I should have waited for it to be safe and turned around, and you'll beat yourself up more. It'll cost you the next 10 trades because your head just won't be in the right space. So stay in your lane, I think, is more important. Hang on. Someone's saying watch Don's last pass video for yourself. Who's asking what? Does it make sense to limit yourself to day trades or swing trades? Just stay in the position until it doesn't make sense? Yeah, I can definitely tell you've been following me for a while. Because that's exactly what I say. I buy when it makes sense. I sell when it makes sense. Sometimes it's in a few minutes. Sometimes it's a few days. Why are you saying Ethan? Ethan says, I'm a freak. He is. He's a freaking clown. These are daily trades, no overnighting. I do whatever I do whatever I want. What time frame do you trade? I mainly hang out on the 4-hour time frame. So that's what I draw these yellow zones on. I manage it on the hourly. 200 people there. Wow, there's a lot of people in here today. Can you guys do me a solid? Hit the thumbs up button for me. What's my thoughts on natural gas? Ooh. If I was gonna, I thought about catching the knife right here at this zone. I wanted to sell some puts. Natural gas, I think it seems cheap right now, but falling into that trap can get you in a lot of trouble because you think it's cheap because you're used to it up here. It remembers like when people were saying gas was cheap because it pulled back from $7 to $4. Like, man, gas is cheap. Like, no, not really. It's just cheaper than all-time highs. Gas was cheap when Trump was in office. Not to get political, but it was $1 something. That was cheap. So gas is kind of just getting back down to its normal levels outside of these crazy, ridiculous. Do you guys remember the hype that happened back here in 2018? We were going nuts over this. We made that look like nothing. I kind of want to take a bullish trade, not one I would catch a knife on. I would take a bullish trade more like selling puts into this one. Puts would be juiced up, puts on the future. I actually trade the futures contracts. If I was in something like an ETF and I only wanted regular options, UNG is probably not worth it. But I would go, I would try to sell like some $7 puts, something in UNG. Do you like trading indices such as the Grandpa Dow? The Grandpa Dow is the one I don't trade, but I actually might be switching that up because if there's one, I think the Grandpa Dow just seems up too much to me. I don't know. A lot of things like defensives, stuff like that. A lot of things in the Dow just pump too much. I think that might be controversial right now. Maybe we're talking about shorting Boeing, which I think right now would be a good one, but you got to watch out for the buyers at that zone. But the main three I'm usually watching, and I do trade these futures quite often, is the Russell, the NASDAQ, and the S&P. I don't know why I'm barely in the Russell. I go through my phases. You can ask my mentorship group. Sometimes I'm like only in the Russell. Most of the other times I'm in like the NQ or the ES. The US 30 moves so nice, especially when scalping. It can if you're trading the futures contract, yeah. I do what I want. Did I answer his question? When I do what I want. What was that? I meant to go more into that. Hang on, let me go back up in the chat. Working full-time after swing trade. I would rather do that anyway. You make more. Knowing your personality is the key. Thanks, X. I missed that comment, but that's a great way to put it. Yeah, know your personality. Because you can't change your emotions, but you can understand what they're going to do. And when emotions take over your trade, oh, you're in trouble. You're asking for it. Do I trade all day? I set my alerts. Like you guys saw me set an alert on, what was it, InPhase? So tomorrow I'll do whatever I want. And when that alert goes off, my watch will vibrate, and then I'll buy it. But I plan everything out at night because nothing's moving. I know I'm of sound mind. There's no news articles, nothing in your face, nothing being shoved down my throat. That's weird to say out loud. But, so I'll just buy it. Because tomorrow news will be pumping out. The game of manipulation starts over at the bell. We're off to the races. And then I'll just know, like, hey, that I said buy, so I'm buying that. I am bouncing around the chat so much. I'm sorry. Depending on what you scalp, ES is worth it. Stocks, not so much. So if we're talking about capital efficiency is what that is probably going into. Now, I do trade all asset classes. So futures, futures options, stocks, options, and Forex. And each one kind of has their own place. 2021 was just buying options. When we get choppy, futures. It's like a mechanic having multiple tools. When the job shows up, what's the best tool for this particular one? As far as capital efficiency, if you're trading SPY or QQQ, for me, I'm either trading SPY or QQQ options or the actual futures. Because the futures, there's no PDT for any guys that are worried about that. Also, with the leverage aspect of it, I get so much for less that will move your account a lot more. But I can also manage it overnight. It's just a billion times better, I think. I'm slow, so much more comfortable swing trading. So yeah, when you're jumping around in the noise, if you're on like the 1 minute time frame, you got to make a decision every single minute. If I'm on the 4-hour time frame, I have all the scalpers in there. I have all their data, and I get to make my decision every 4 hours, twice a day. So it makes things a lot easier. Cryptos. What about them, Dylan? I don't trade them. I buy them. I buy Bitcoin. I used to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, but then I turned that off. So every week I buy It used to be I buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, savings account. And I do that specifically because it builds up the savings account. So when we get the dip, I throw the savings account in. That's how I dollar cost average, and it keeps my average quite a bit lower than most everyone else that just buys every week. But a couple months ago, I turned Ethereum off and just put that into Bitcoin. Special K bath salts. I do what I want. I'm PDT, slow, and on mobile, so swinging is better for me. I do scalp sometimes. 99.99 of my trades are on my phone. Even when I'm at my computer, when I take trades live here while we're streaming, I have my phone right here to take the trade. 15-minute and 5-minute time frame for entries is what I use when scalping. I do like 15-minute intraday, but I don't hop down to the 5-minute. That's a lot of noise. What platform can I use to buy and sell futures? And can I be obligated to buy the contract? Obligated with futures, there was a problem a long time ago. So you would take physical delivery. Now it's automatic. It's default that it will just settle for cash. Some guy in Florida, I think he got like 3 tons of oranges delivered to him because he was trading the oranges futures, which is absolutely hilarious. But I use TradeStation. There's no affiliate link or anything like that, but that's all I can say is use TradeStation. And anyone in my chat that has switched to TradeStation will probably agree. Do you teach all of this in your mentorship? Yeah. In my mentorship, you're with me. Like, you're in my Discord chat, so if you have a question, just ask. I don't have the chat silenced, so if you ask a question, I prefer you ask the question just in our main chat. I read the replies to that question, and I reply to everyone. Plus, we do the daily streams. Thursday, for mentorship night, Thursday is literally just question night. So we don't even break any tickers down. Plus, right now on Thursdays, we kick it off with actually watching a video from my course, so I can answer any questions along the way, if anybody does have that. Which right now we're going over options. We're on spreads right now. But I do have to hop off here. If you guys are curious about that, I do have a course. That is the teachable link. Below that is the Patreon. Patreon Tier 1 is the weekly growth account. Tier 2 is the mentorships. That is, again, like I just said, you're with me all day. You can annoy me all you want. Some do try their hardest. But anyway, I'm about to get with that group as we speak. So yeah, if you have any questions, check those out. And just know that I'm not on any other website. So if that's something else, if I'm on something else, it's just not me. As much as I appreciate you guys wanting to send me Bitcoins, I have a Coinbase if you want to do that. But it's probably a scam. Anyway, I will answer this one question real fast. How many years did it take you to have supreme confidence in trading and realize you could do this for a living? Gosh, this is a good question. I learned in a bull market. I started trading in 2013. We were in a record-long bull market. So I was fortunate enough to, even my mistakes paid me money. It was like people trading in 2021, except over some years. I was buying things like Starbucks because the line was long. I bought Apple because the phone was coming out. All dumb reasons. But bullish enough that I still made money. But I was able to look back over my trades, and just as I learned how things worked, I was able to correct those mistakes and realize that was just a fantasy land. So it honestly didn't take me long. I think it would take probably a little bit longer in this market. Also, at the same time, I quit so fast. As soon as I was making what I was making on my checks, I couldn't wait to be a trader, so I quit. And I effectively cut my income in half because that was dumb. If you can trade while having your job, then you have two incomes. Hustle it out a little bit longer. One day you're going to wake up and think, I'm just not going to go to work. And that's that. Then you've made it. You're good. 3 months. I wasn't going to say it, Matt. But anyway, times have changed. It certainly wouldn't be 3 months from me now. Will I send the Bitcoin back 100x? I will tell you that in the beginning, and then I'll write you a story about how it didn't happen. I was hacked. So Thomas says, I'm glad you're able to realize that. Most people can't. They really can't. My mindset is very different from most, but I can say hopefully that's what I want to help you out with if you do join the mentorship. Piggyback off my experience. Yeah, and if you guys learned how to trade while you're working, you just learned how to have two incomes. Don't worry about that stupid laptop lifestyle. That was one of the dumbest things I could have ever done. Anyway, I will wrap it up. I will see you guys in the next stream. Please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Mentorship, don't go anywhere because we're going live right now. Everyone else, see you Tuesday.